Did you know that 1 in 4 adults at some point will experience a form of midlife crisis? It doesn't always look obvious and dramatic. More time, it looks like silence. You know, it can be like getting a serious injury or even a loss of income. Sometimes it could look like battling an illness or even the death of someone you love. It can even be the quiet breakdown of a marriage that feels like a negotiation than a connection. Have you ever had those moments where you start to question everything and wonder, how did you become a stranger to your own life? Even realizing you're climbing the wrong mountain. You know, from the outside looking in, everything was great, stable even. Home life is good, career is on track, you got responsibilities and a reputation, you know, all these indicators of some aspirational success. But inside you feel it. Something ain't quite right. Doesn't feel like truth. Well, a few years ago, I went through my own version of this, but my whole world was turned upside down. My home life was unraveling as my marriage ended. During that time, mentally, emotionally, I was messed up. I was battling all kinds of anxieties and depression. I was re-examining everything about my life, unable to perform and pretend anymore. I needed to take some time out. I walked away from my job. I went into a self-prescribed solitude to try and process everything that had happened. I discovered all kinds of buried insecurities and past traumas and blind spots to my character. That time out was well needed to face parts of myself that I didn't realize I had been avoiding for years, including the uncomfortable truth that however I was living was no longer working anymore. Wrestling with heavy thoughts and feelings of guilt, shame, failure. It was a dark time. But then, in the depths of that valley, a light found me, and it came in the form of a 5-week course in stone sculpture. For 1 day a week, I stood in a dusty art studio, hammer in one hand, chisel in the other, and a block of raw limestone in front of me. Apart from a small radio in the corner, the only sound was the constant tap-tap rhythm of steel against stone. But for the first time in months, if not years, that noise in my mind was quiet. Now, sculpture, made of stone, wood, or even wax, is made by carefully chipping away the excess material and anything else that isn't essential. Then very slowly, a form begins to emerge. During those studio sessions, I realized I wasn't just carving stone. In many ways, the stone, as well as life, was carving something inside me. Every strike of that hammer and chisel was like removing something false and revealing something true. Chipping away the fragments of a facade. You know, these roles that we create in our lives, or these performances that we act out, the identities that we try and hold on to, or even the mask that we hide behind and present to the world. Sometimes it seemed like the stone was asking me questions, like, what form is waiting beneath the surface of your life, and what will you carve away? These sculpting sessions became a form of self-therapy for me, like a quiet meditation, but they also triggered the beginning of a journey of self-discovery and reconstruction. I'm still on this journey, and even now I'm still being carved and sculpted, still learning who this man is. But one thing I do know is whatever form is emerging, it will be of truth. To live my life in truth, to show up as truth, to love as truth, and to create art as truth. Because we could choose to either live a life of safety and comfort, yet suppressed, or we can choose to take a risk, move beyond our comfort zone, and embrace the truth that we only get one go of this. The breakdown isn't a tragedy, but spending the rest of your life in the wrong shape is.